37-year-old Nicole Linton, a traveling ICU nurse from Houston, Texas, working in Los Angeles, is behind bars and faces 6 counts of murder and 5 counts of vehicular manslaughter. The incident occurred at around 1:40 p.m. on the 4th of August, when Nicole's car slammed into at least 5 other vehicles while traveling at least 90 miles per hour through a busy intersection at La Brea and Slauson Avenues in Windsor Hills, California, ejecting multiple parties from their vehicle and fully engulfing at least 2 of the cars in flames. CCTV footage of the crash shows the cars bursting into a massive fireball upon impact and hurtling towards a gas station across the intersection before coming to a stop in a mangled mess, with debris scattered throughout the scene. Nicole survived the crash and was released from hospital on the 7th of August. On the 8th of August, she appeared in court in a wheelchair, with her left arm bandaged, crying over the crash that killed 6 people and left at least 8 others injured. She's held at the Century Regional Detention Center in Linwood, California, on a $9 million bond after attorney's request for a lower $300,000 bond was rejected. If convicted, Nicole faces up to 90 years in prison. Among those killed include 23-year-old Asheray Ryan, her 1-year-old son Alonzo Quintero, and her unborn baby boy. The unborn child's father, Reynold Lester, was also killed in the crash after the car split in half immediately on impact. Asheray, Reynold and the baby were on the way to a doctor's appointment for a pregnancy checkup when Nicole smashed a Mercedes into the car they were traveling in. Witness Veronica Esquivel said she was pumping gas just feet away from the collision when she had to cover her head for protection as debris flew past her. All of a sudden, a baby's literally flew in the middle of the intersection to the middle of the gas station and landed on the floor right in front of me, she said. One of the workers came and saw me with the baby and took the baby out of my hands. Someone tried to resuscitate the baby, but the baby was gone. Tabia Johnson, another witness, took a photo of Nicole sitting down on a nearby sidewalk following the crash, with the burning aftermath visible in the background. She condemned the woman's driving and said Nicole appeared to have suffered minor injuries, including bleeding near her head. Nicole cooperated with investigators, including checking her blood to see if she was under the influence when the fatal collision took place. LA County District Attorney George Gaston said during a press conference held on the 8th of August that there was no evidence of alcohol use at this point. A woman who identified herself as Nicole's friend, however, contradicted this statement by previously telling reporters that Nicole was drunk and fighting with her boyfriend before she got in the car and smashed into traffic. Gaston acknowledged the woman's allegations during the press briefing and said that investigators are working to further identify this person. He declined to give any additional information about the woman and her allegations as the investigation into the matter continues. On the 3rd of August 2022, 29-year-old Andrew Joseph Condon was found guilty of the 2018 murder of his 23-year-old girlfriend, La Brea Jackson. He stuffed her body into a plastic storage container and dumped her remains at an abandoned truck stop in southern Colorado. La Brea was a mother of 2 sons. He was reported missing by a mother on the 26th of December 2018. Just days prior to La Brea's murder, the authorities responded to a physical disturbance involving La Brea and Andrew at around 6:15 p.m. on the 17th of December 2018 at the Willow Wick Apartments located in the 10,600 block of East Jewel Avenue in Aurora, Colorado. On the 23rd of December, La Brea's mother received a text from her daughter's phone saying she was getting ready to pick Andrew up, that the two will be arriving at her home in Westcliff that evening and will be staying there for a few days but never turned up. Last time anyone spoke to La Brea was on the 21st of December when she spoke to her brother on the phone. On the 24th of December 2018, after La Brea failed to show up at her parents' home, her mother called her apartment complex to check on her daughter. A property manager opened the apartment and found there weren't a lot of personal items inside. On the same day, Andrew was stopped by the Texas State Troopers while driving La Brea's car and was issued with a citation for being in possession of drug paraphernalia. Hours later, Andrew was pulled over again, this time by the Alvarado Police Department in Texas. Andrew provided officers with a stolen Colorado ID, and he was taken into custody on multiple outstanding felony warrants out of Colorado, which were unrelated to La Brea's murder. At the time of his arrest, officers found La Brea's cell phone on him. He was also in possession of a debit card, which had been used multiple times throughout the state. And just after 3 p.m. on the 6th of January 2019, a driver entered an area near an abandoned truck stop at exit 34 along Interstate 25, just north of Aguilar in Los Animas County, and noticed a red plastic storage container with a human body inside, and the authorities were contacted. 2 days later, the coroner identified the body to be Labrie Jackson, and she was determined to have been strangled to death. The investigation revealed that Andrew strangled Labrie sometime between the 21st of December and the 23rd of December 2018, about 2 weeks before her body was discovered. Cellular phone data retrieved by the investigators on the 23rd of December 2018 showed that Labrie's phone pinged off a tower in close proximity to where her body was found. Her phone then pinged off towers in Texas where police pulled Andrew over twice for traffic infractions, but there was no sign of Labrie in the car. Authorities said that Andrew sent the text to Labrie's mother from her phone on the 24th of December. The murder charge was filed against Andrew on the 25th of January 2019. He'd been in jail in Jackson County, Texas. Andrew reportedly had a history of domestic violence incidents involving Labrie. On the 3rd of August 2022, a jury convicted Andrew with a series of offences connected with his girlfriend's death. He was charged with murder, tampering with a corpse, aggravated motor vehicle theft, burglary, assault strangulation and felony menacing. Chief Deputy District Attorney Andrew Steers said, "This was a horrific case of a domestic violence that robbed 2 children of their mother, parents of their daughter, and a community of a beloved member. This verdict is a first step towards justice." Andrew is due for sentencing on the 10th of November, and he faces a possibility of life behind bars. A 32-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of murder after his girlfriend's 1-year-old son was found dead near train tracks and his 2-year-old brother was discovered injured. The events unfolded at around 2:05 a.m. on the 2nd of August 2022, when the authorities were dispatched to a possible domestic violence incident occurring in the 1700 block of North State Street in Ukiah, California. Upon arrival, deputies located Edward Steele and his girlfriend Sally Arellano standing in the parking lot of a closed business. During a subsequent contact, deputies developed information which led to the arrest of Sally for a misdemeanor charge of domestic violence battery. At the time of her arrest, Sally stated her children were at a motel approximately half a mile away while being cared for by a babysitter. The children were not present during the domestic violence incident and were not with her at the time of her arrest. Deputies learned that Edward and Sally had been engaged in a romantic dating relationship for the past several months. Sally was subsequently booked into the Mendocino County Jail and was later released on bail on the 3rd of August at approximately 5 a.m. Sally was able to make a call prior to and after being booked into the Mendocino County Jail. The authorities said that Edward had assumed care of the children from the babysitter after Sally's arrest. The authorities determined that during the morning of the 3rd of August, Edward left the children unattended near the railway tracks of the 300 block of Bross Street in Ukiah. Thereafter, the 1-year-old child was found deceased, and the 2-year-old child was found with a life-threatening medical emergency. At around 12:25 p.m. the next day, Upland Tribal members contacted the sheriff's office and reported a sighting of Edward at the Upland Rancheria. Deputies responded to the scene and took Edward into custody. Edward was booked into the Mendocino County Jail on charges of murder and violation of the post-release community supervision. He's currently being held without bail. 34-year-old Raymond Thompson is behind bars after allegedly stabbing his fiancée, 32-year-old Ashley Lockhart, to death. Ashley, a mother of 6, had at some time taken out a violence protective order against Raymond, but the authorities said the two were living together and that Raymond was the father to her children. Raymond's home address is said to be in the 2900 block of Kensington Avenue in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. At around 8:15 a.m. on the 6th of August 2022, surveillance footage shows Raymond leaving his gold Honda Odyssey outside a convenience store located at 5351 Chestnut Street in West Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, while Ashley remained seated in the passenger side of the minivan. Raymond then went inside the store, and when he returned to the vehicle, he attacked Ashley with a knife before fleeing on foot. Paramedics responded to the scene at around 8:27 a.m, and Ashley was found unresponsive in the passenger side of the minivan. She had multiple stab wounds to her body, neck and arms, and she was pronounced dead at the scene. The police arrested Raymond about an hour later near his home. He told the authorities that he took a train back home and then had some heroin before turning himself in. Raymond told detectives he stabbed Ashley because he thought she had cheated on him. The police recovered a weapon and towed his minivan away for forensic analysis. Raymond is held without bail on charges of murder and possessing instruments of crime. On the 8th of August 2022, 39-year-old Clark Rains was sentenced to life in prison for fatally strangling his 68-year-old mother Kay Rains in March of 2017 because she spent his father's inheritance. The authorities said that Clark hogtied and then strangled his mother and buried her face down in a shallow grave. After committing the crime, he then used his mother's credit cards and sold her belongings. A neighbour said Kay was missing after she did not return from a casino, and her son began using her credit cards. The police placed a tracking device on Clark's car and followed him to an area near Alabama 225, north of Bay Minette, where the authorities found the victim's body. Mobile County District Attorney Ashley Rich believed her son felt entitled and was angry that her mother spent the inheritance from her husband, and he did not leave it to him being his only son. On the 8th of August, the District Attorney's Office announced that Clark Rains was ordered to spend life in prison without the possibility of parole, and was sentenced to 10 years for each of the 13 counts of fraudulent use of the credit card. In a statement, the District Attorney's Office wrote, "From his arrest throughout the trial and sitting in the courtroom during sentencing, Clark Rains showed no remorse for the cold and calculated act of murdering his own mother. Kay was a beautiful, kind soul whose only family left was a son. She cared for him and supported him long into his adult life. In return, he brutally strangled her face to face and buried her in a shallow grave." A woman is accused of fatally stabbing a 4-year-old daughter and critically injuring a 2-year-old son, and then posting a video to social media. 31-year-old Janie Pettisclo has been arrested on suspicion of murder, attempted murder and cruelty to a juvenile. The incident occurred at around 11 a.m. on the 7th of August 2022, when the authorities responded to reports of a call about a stabbing at a duplex home located at 3120 Law Street in New Orleans, Louisiana. When officers arrived at the house, they learned that a 2-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl had sustained stab wounds to their bodies. Both children were rushed to a local hospital, where the girl died and the boy remained in a critical condition. Police said the preliminary investigation indicates that this incident is guardian-related in nature. It's reported that Janie posted a video on Instagram stating, "I'm done. My children are dead. I'm done. I'm done with life." The video allegedly shows Janie talking to the camera with blood visible on her body and shirt. The children's father sued for joint custody in April this year, stating in court that Janie was not stable or providing a healthy environment for the kids.